Well, we managed 6 games with the dream team up front before old Glass Knees broke his foot. Hello and welcome to Season 13, Episode 3 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kev, and coming up on today's episode, we have a Premier League game away against West Ham and a Champions League match at home to Dynamo Kyiv. Before we get into that, we've played quite a few games since you were last with me. I think the last time you were there was the Valencia game in the Champions League. So there's been 6 weeks of game time gone by in that time. Rushing through it all. It's been indifferent. Premier League form has been okay. Very okay. Not any more than that. We beat Everton 1-0 in the league. Why have goal scorers been turned off on there? There we go. That's more like it. How did that happen? So we beat Everton 1-0 in the league, but then we lost 2-1 at home to Chelsea. Beat Rotherham 3-1 away, but lost to Newcastle 4-2 away, and then drew 1-1 in the East Anglian derby at home to Norwich. A late equaliser from Johnny Vaughan in that game. So Premier League form, not great. We've also been knocked out of the Capital One Cup on penalties to Bournemouth. We were 3-1 up with 10 minutes to go, at which point I decided to switch to the Diamond, consolidate the win. They got 2 goals back really quickly. And Modou Fall missed the final penalty in that match. And in the Champions League, we lost 3-2 at home to Paris Saint-Germain. Forget that nonsense from yesterday about Valencia being the tough game. Paris Saint-Germain, much better than they are. Even though they're only the second seed in the group, they absolutely hammered us. We did well to get 2 goals in that game. But we did go away to Kiev and beat them 3-1. So league table-wise, in the Premier League, 10 games in, it's not looking great. We're in 9th place on 14 points, 5 points away from the Champions League spots already with only a quarter of the season gone. Villa are still doing ridiculously well. They only came back into the Premier League last season. Craig Noone is clearly a genius because they finished in a Europa League qualification spot last season, and they're pushing for the title this year. This guy is a magician, and I'd quite like to make him my assistant manager, but I assume that's probably not going to be an option. So we need to pick up the Premier League form a little bit. In the Champions League, things are looking a little bit better. Obviously, we did get battered by Paris Saint-Germain, and we've got to play them again. But Valencia only drew with Dynamo Kyiv. So fingers crossed they're not as good as we thought they were. So if we can pick up a win against Kiev today, we then just need to draw, really. Probably even get away without doing that against Valencia. And that final game against Paris Saint-Germain doesn't really matter, and we'll make it into the knockout rounds, which would be awesome. So the first game we're playing today is... Who are we playing? We're away against West Ham. West Ham are 1 place below us in the league. So current form being as it is, I would probably expect this to be a defeat, but we need to start turning league form around and quick, and this is the team that we're putting out there to try and do that. So Matt Lee's going to be in goal, a back four of Walker, Peters, Zabala, Dane and Lazarov, Valverde, Chris and Yusuf in midfield, Vaughan in behind, Lacio and Fall up front. Christian Aaron did break his foot, as I may have hinted at in the intro to this episode. He's on here somewhere. There he is. He's going to be back fit again in a couple of weeks, but we all know what. Oh, he broke his toe, not his foot. That still put him out for 2 months. But he's a couple of weeks away from fitness again, so hopefully he'll be fit again for those last couple of Champions League games. Let's get into this game against West Ham. Right, we need a win. We need to start getting our league form rolling again, because I don't want a 3rd season in a row where all we've got to play for is the Cups, because sooner or later our run good in the Cups is going to come to an end, and we're just going to have a really disappointing season. And that would be somewhat of an anticlimax after all the trophies we've been picking up lately. And I'd like to keep that run going with let's establish ourselves as a Champions League club. Champions League is proving to be good fun. And obviously if it looks like we're going to make it through the group stages of the Champions League, that means we can't get into it by winning the Europa League again, because we won't be playing in it. So ridiculously, the way the world works, because we're doing slightly better than expected in the Champions League, we now have to do even better than usual in the league to be able to stay there next year. Whereas if we were rubbish in the Champions League, we'd have another route back in. Silly, silly football. Right, Lazarov's in behind them here, cross back to Fall, and that that's pretty much your prototype Ipswich goal there. Lazarov gets in behind, whips it across. Modu Fall doesn't miss from there, unless it's a penalty against Bournemouth in the Capital One Cup. Look at Lazarov. I mean, let me know in the comments, should I be converting this guy to a winger? Because defensively, he's not all that. But going forward, he's incredible. And part of me thinks, how much more effective would he be if he was playing wide midfield? Or as part of a front three even? Because he is just ridiculous at creating goals, getting in behind, getting the crosses in. And obviously, we've also seen recently, he's got a bit of a shot on him as well. Oh, we've got a penalty. Who's our penalty taker now? Yusuf, I think that is, number 14. I think. I can't remember of all these squad number changes we've had there. Oh, for goodness sake. What is it with us missing penalties lately? We need to learn how to score penalties again. Right, Walker-Peters, cross comes in. Look at where Lazarov is standing. He is our right back. And he was stood in the centre-forward position there for that. We'll look at that again in 3D. Modu Fall with his 10th goal of the season. It's good to see him back in some form. But that's Lazarov there. Look, there he is. What is our right back doing just there? I mean, I'm not complaining, but sooner or later we have to think, what's the point of playing him at right back when he knows full well he's not playing at right back? He's basically our trequartista. He just goes wherever he feels like and creates stuff. So we might become a little bit more secure defensively if we actually set the team up for him to do that. But I imagine there's a million reasons why we can't. Let's have a look at him, actually. We're 2-0 up at half-time. Hopefully we've got this wrapped up already. I mean, at the moment, all he can do is right back. He's an awkward wing back, an awkward left back. But, what is there about him that means he wouldn't be able to play here or here? Have a little look at that and let me know what I'm missing. You know I'm not good with the numbers. But, I mean, in real life, after the 2 seasons he's had, that's what I'd be doing. I'd be thinking, right, let's just get him playing further forward. Again, I've compared him to Gareth Bale on the last episode, but isn't that the thought process that went on with him? He started off at Southampton as a left back, and they realised he was too good going forward to play at left back, and over the years he just drifted further and further forward. That's the one thing that I think's missing from Football Manager, that sort of dynamic position changing as the years go on. Unless you deliberately retrain them to do it, it doesn't really work. And then obviously, until they're fully good at it, they don't play well there. There he goes. That Fall's hat-trick. It's good to have him back. Whereas everything about the way he plays is telling me he could be a midfield player. Who knows? I'll stop talking about Lazarov now, but you might be able to tell I'm quite fond of him. I'm also quite fond of Modu Fall because he's just got a hat-trick against West Ham, which is rather handy. I think that's the first time he scored a hat-trick in about a year and a half. Right, let's make some changes. We've obviously got Champions League game coming up in a couple of days' time. I think Fall can safely come off now. He's got his hat-trick. We'll save him for midweek because obviously his knees are no more solid than Arendt's are. So he's played every game so far this season. So we should probably be looking to protect him. Now he's done the business today. And we'll bring Cool on as well. And hopefully we'll just see this game out. I mean, the last time we got this far ahead and what's happened? Zabala's injured. Oh, for goodness sake, that's not what we needed. I haven't got a centre-back on the bench. So again, we're going to have to play Fritzsche back there to continue his development as a 5'9" centre-back. This is where it's all going to go wrong. Oh, dear. Right. Oh, there you go. Got a corner. This is all good stuff. Lazarov again. Look, not all that defensively. I mean, he's just beaten there quite easily. And it's led to a goal. Your thoughts, very much required. I mean, a lot of that comes down to Fritzsche as well, I guess. I can't even see him on there. Is that him standing next to Lazarov? Not really sure where he's supposed to be. He didn't really get involved in defending that at all. If we let them back into this game, that's disgusting. Right. I think they're over the top again. Dane gets it away. In fact, what I'm going to do is switch Dane and Fritzsche across just so that we don't have Fritzsche and Lazarov on the same side because it's just going to give them too much space to run into and make us look silly. Looks like we've managed to hold on though, which is very good. Shouldn't have had to have held on in that game. We were dominating for the first 70 minutes. But at least we've picked up the win and that puts us up to 8th place in the league. let's just have a quick look at the league table. So 8th place, looking much healthier than it did before the match, actually. I know Newcastle and Man City both have a game in hand, but as it stands at the moment, we're now only 2 points off a Champions League spot, which is a much nicer position to be in. Let's go and play Dynamo Kyiv. So, Zabala's out for a month with a fractured jaw. And also, just to, make a proper makeshift defence for this match, both Walker-Peters and Lazarov are suspended after picking up, is it the second or the third yellow card? I can't remember. Anyway, too many yellow cards in those first 3 group games. So we've got big changes to the back 4. So Matt Lee stays in goal, but back 4 is now Leach, Bosmans, Dane and Fritscher. So only Dane surviving from the West Ham game. The rest of the team largely unchanged, other than one change up front where I've brought Wilfred Thomas in for Lazio, partly to give Lazio a little bit of a rest and partly to give Thomas a little bit of game time because he's not been getting much and I don't want to lose him because he's a handy 4th choice striker to have around. So we beat this lot quite convincingly away. So even with the dodgy makeshift defence that we've got going on, I would like to think we should still be okay. But there's still a couple of question marks. I mean, Bosmans, I've not really given him any kind of test so far. So with him in a defence that also contains Fritscher, it's probably not ideal. But part of me thinks Fritscher's actually probably more solid defensively than Lazarov is. And Will Leach is as good as, if not better than Walker-Peters. And I kind of rotate from time to time which one of them's first choice in my mind anyway. So it's perhaps not as weak as 3 changes being forced on us would make it look. I kind of wish we still had Sokolov there to drop in for Bosmans though. He's doing very well for, I think it's Spartak Moscow he went to, and is now playing regularly for Russia again and is worth about 18 million. But he was grumpy and wouldn't stay, so there's not a lot we could do. Looks like Paris Saint-Germain are beating Valencia already. Oh no, Valencia have just equalised looking at that league table. I would quite like us to get a goal now, because if Paris Saint-Germain do beat Valencia today and we beat Kiev, I think that means we qualify. Although, what's that goal been disallowed for? That didn't look offside to me. Why don't we get a replay for offsides? Very frustrating. Right, come on, lads. It really is time we took the lead now. It's only the defence that's had major changes. I think going forward we should still be okay. And what happened there? I mean, the one man who has been a mainstay of our defence for over 5 years, Nicolas Dane, he's the man who should have been marking the player who's just scored. And he's left him in yards of space. Look at that. We've got both Dane and Bosmans chasing the ball, leaving that guy completely unmarked. We're 1-0 down at home to Dynamo Kyiv. And suddenly, all that nonsense I was spouting about, oh, well, we don't get to play in the Europa League this season, silly old world. We're probably going to end up in the Europa League now, because we're going to at least lose to Paris Saint-Germain again, and Valencia will be out for revenge as well. So Kiev could sneak in, despite us knowing we're a better team than they are, after thumping them in the away leg. The world confuses me sometimes. We have not been... Right, I tell you what, I'm going to get angry. Yeah, there you go. Let's shout at them. Yeah. See, it's not often I do my own team talk, but sometimes I am angry and I need a bit of a shout. Shove Ian Culverhouse out the way, march into the dressing room. Uh-oh, boss is here. He only comes in when he wants to shout. Yeah, that's what's happening. Oh, for goodness sake. I thought you were fired up, you bunch of morons. What is happening? Again, it's the guy Dane's marking as well. Dane's is that him just sort of adjusting his studs as this all starts off? And yeah, I mean, that's just easy. There was no challenge on that player at all. And all of a sudden, what should have been us rubber stamping qualification to the knockout round is starting to look not very pleasant. Let's make some attacking changes, see if we can make some stuff happen going forward. Bring on Lazio and Mesidoro. Oh, Lazio's captain. There you go. Hopefully he's gone for the Kev hairstyle, or else why would we give him the captaincy? Right, come on. We've got to get back into this game, and we need to get back into it now. Even a draw is a disappointing result from here. But they're in again. Oh, my goodness. They've hit the post. That guy is a bit useful. I might have to get the scouts to have a little look at him. Right, full crosses to Lazio, and everything stops. Brilliant. That, I mean... makes me angry. Right, why did I make this substitution so early? And I know I got a grumpy on, but I've made all my changes now. And there's still 20 minutes to go. Full on grumpy mode. I don't usually make my substitutions that early on, but Vosserbelt can come on as well, try and give a bit more energy to the midfield. But we're second to everything. Dynamo Kyiv are supposed to be rubbish. I don't understand what's happening. They're in again, and it's a good save from Matt Lee, but they have had 4 clear-cut chances. We have had none. These were supposed to be the whipping boys of this group. Tell you what, the Champions League's hard. Everyone's good in the Champions League. I want to go back to the Europa League. It was easy there. Well, that has been a complete disaster. And suddenly the league starts to look even more important because I don't know if we're making it out of this group now. I don't understand what's just happened. I don't know if... I mean, even Valencia, it looks like they've come back and beaten PSG as well. Where's that result? Oh, blimey heck, they have. So we've now got to play Valencia and PSG. We're going to lose to PSG. So we've got to beat Valencia or we're out. This isn't good. Right, if you've enjoyed today's episode, make sure you pop a like on there for me. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on an embarrassing Champions League exit when I was talking about how easy it all was. And thank you very much for watching.